all good things have to come to an end. And you guys, you don't see behind the scenes as much. We've been doing game development for over 3 years now, but after a series of financial, ideological, game design differences, and just how we see like human rights,
the last part is not true.
We've realized that Bite Me Games and me and Thomas as the co-founders just doesn't work out anymore. And it's sad. Like, we've done some good stuff, but unfortunately, this is kind of the video where I announced that I'll be leaving Bite Me Games. Thomas retains the YouTube channel, he retains the intellectual property, and I'm going to be starting a new studio, Suck Me Games. I'll link it down below. We've had a good run, but it's just not bearable. So because of that...
Do we remain friends?
No, of course not. We're no mortal enemies.
Well, the good thing is Bite Me will outperform Suck Me Games.
If you haven't noticed yet, we're not serious about this. We are not going anywhere. But assuming that I was going to make Suck Me Games and you are now back to Bite Me Games all on your own.
Well, what about William then, actually?
William, we forget.
We don't talk about him.
We forget about him for a moment. How would we approach these things? Because we have always been in game development, or at least I have always been doing game development together, never alone, and now I'm suddenly going solo. I think I'm also at a point where theoretically I could go solo. Not that I want to, but I think at this point I
think everyone can go solo, but each and every one of us has their own struggles then.
Yeah, we would all have their own problems. I would be probably coding-wise would be my biggest issue, game design-wise maybe for you. A lot of things, also just accountability, all of that. Yeah. So I want to give you some tips of what I would do at least, and also probably what you would want to do when we go solo, assuming we were to go solo. I think there are some things in here that you can learn, and I'm going to promise you this already. This is not going to be your boring ass generic tips of join a Discord server and find an accountability buddy. I've made those pieces of advice before. I'm not going to repeat myself. I've got the pure hardcore business ideas, and I'm just going to dive right into it.
We're going to do solo dev to make money.
Or at least survive. Yeah. These are the differences we have. I would, and this is for me personally, I would hyper focus on just making games. I think that is the big thing. I do a lot of stuff right now. I help with the games, I do this YouTube channel, I do the marketing, I do so much other stuff. If I were to do alone, I'm going hobo mode, basically. No YouTube, no making devlogs, no anything. I would just lock myself in a room basically and make a game. And I think none of the other things. No Discord server anymore, like managing a Discord server and all of that. It's like, oh, but I'm building
you don't have time for it.
Building a community, it doesn't matter. I think especially if we go with that idea of, hey, we still want to maintain sustainability, keep actually doing game development as our main full-time profession, so to say, you just have to make games, and you have to make more games, and you have to make games faster, and you shouldn't focus on running a Discord server for your non-existent games yet, because the return on investment just isn't there.
Yeah, not to mention that when you get started, you won't see returns on your investment of time for like a year and a half or something.
Yeah.
Because like when we started YouTube channel, you can go back and we had like garbage, well, not garbage, but compared to what we do now, pretty garbage things. Like you've grown a lot in making videos.
The videos just didn't perform well.
Yeah, we got like 100 views.
I genuinely think
it's not worth it.
Yeah, some of our old videos, I think honestly are better than some of the new ones I make, but they still only have like 1,000 views or something.
Yeah, and you won't see that return on investment. So the quickest way to do that is just to not do those things. Because we made that choice. I don't know if we first of all have the unfair advantage, whatever you call it, that we were 3 people, well, 4 people from the start, I guess. We also had someone who really loves doing it, because it's Marnix and he always wanted to be a YouTuber. So that's our great things, but if you think about it from a business perspective, it's probably not worth it. The only reason it's now worth it is because we have already an audience, so we earn from it. We can have some sponsors and we have Patreon. If we had, well, one of the 3, well, basically got away. Those are the 3 pillars that makes it still worth it.
I think also, you know, even if I went to go solo, even though I have the camera equipment and I know how to talk on camera,
it's too much time.
It's too much time indeed. It just doesn't make sense anymore. I should just focus more on games, because right now, if you take like all of the hours of Bite Me, YouTube is a smaller percentage. If you take all of the hours of Suck Me Games, which is just me, suddenly then if I wanted to keep YouTube, that's like 40% of total time. That's not worth it anymore. Yep. I think that is something you need to realize.
How you allocate your time is really important, and you should just do 95% game dev.
Yeah, 95% game dev, and even more specifically then, and this maybe goes into the next point that I have, is just focus on making the game and less on all the stuff around it, like making your own custom engine, God forbid. If you do that, just forget about it, please.
Yeah, you're not going to earn money anytime soon.
But also like making all your art custom, for example. I would basically take Suck Me Games. I have like, let's say a $5,000 capital, whatever, and just look at assets as well. And basically buy as much of my time that I can to focus on the things that needs my game, like my attention specifically. And it's like whether I learn how to model an orc myself, or I go and I buy an asset pack that has 10 orcs for $50 or whatever. It makes more sense. And I think this is something that game developers often forget or like are too scared of, that mentality. And we had this a long time as well. Of like, we don't want to spend anything. I have time. I have only time. But I think that is not a healthy mindset in the long run, where it's like, I would rather like write our own localization system
I was going to say the
from
exact same
scratch
thing.
Instead of spending $20 on buying
but
Localize.
even the localization, it's like, if you look at Forge Industry, we had an 18-month dev cycle. Why is this? First of all, we weren't too experienced. But second of all, we made everything our goddamn self.
All of the
This
assets.
is stupid as fuck, you know? I can swear on... Can I swear on YouTube? Well, I don't know.
This was your one swear word of the
Okay,
video.
I won't swear anymore, I swear. But if you look at it, we made our own localization system. It was a hell to work it with for Marnix, because it was like a CSV editor.
Yeah, I think it cost us like 50 hours or something in total.
And it's like, when you look at that, or you buy ITIL Localize for like $20. Okay, we were 3 people, so we had to buy it 3 times. Well, that's $60. We reused it for Unicycle, Pizza Time.
Everything.
It has super good integration, for example, with Google Drive. This is not a sales pitch, by the way. With Google Drive, where it's like all synced and we can just work in the same document and press one button and it's in our game. Bro, why were we thinking that way?
Yeah, asset packs do so much as well for like visual style. And it's like, at the end of the day, if you are an S tier, but a genuine S tier 3D artist, yeah, maybe you can make your own stuff.
Yeah, then you probably should, because I think you should lean into your strength, but then you should buy assets for the gameplay loop.
Yeah, but if you're like me, regular old Joe at the end of the day, who knows a little bit of everything, but isn't really great at anything super specific, then just go for the assets and focus on the game design specifically, and once again, hyper-focus on that even. Where I would even go, and this is something that people get riled up when I say this, is like, you get the asset before you get the game. I think with Overtime Anomaly, we saw the asset, we got the asset, and then we made a game basically around it. And that saved us, I think, compared to Magical Girl Guardians, where we had the idea and then we tried to finding assets, but we realized then a few months into development that we couldn't really find enough assets that fit the vibe. And we didn't have that much budget that we could get custom art made. And the time that we would learn it ourselves was like a year as well. So we ended up canceling it. I would look at first, okay, do I have all of the assets I need basically in this case to make the game, and only then greenlight the next part of development. Once you know, okay, visually it's going to be all right.
Wow, so we don't have too much differences then. Maybe you should rejoin Bite Me then.
We'll see. Do you have how would you approach it when I leave? What will you do? I'm gone.
What would I do? You want the honest truth?
You can't say stop game development.
I honestly I would probably, maybe not probably, but I would consider it at least.
Okay, when should you consider just stopping game dev? If you're a solo developer, when do you figure out this isn't gonna work out for now?
It's hard to say on solo. Like, one of the biggest things that keeps me invested in Bite Me is just the fact that you and William are in it.
So we're basically blackmailing you.
No, that's not true, because I still enjoy it. Mm-hmm. It's just, when you think about it from a business perspective, it's kind of the same with Bite Me right now, which is like, you have to be consistent and you have to make sacrifices, because you can't do everything. I think I play a lot less League, for example, than I used to. I play a lot less games than I used to, because I'm now making games. I think the most important thing that if you consider quitting is, consider first of all, what would you do with your time otherwise? Because if you think it's fun, bro, don't stop. Yeah. What are you doing? But if you want to do it from a business perspective, I think it's really important that you have the discipline to keep yourself motivated. Because I think the biggest problem with, I would say, artificial number, 80% of solo devs, is just the discipline to work on their game and know what is important. Because people get sidetracked so damn quickly. This is not something that just you guys, it's also with us, and sometimes it can pay off. A simple example is the doors in Overtime Anomaly.
I wanted to say the exact same thing.
The doors in Overtime Anomaly. William spent like maybe 2-3 days on it?
It was a full week basically.
A full week.
I think on day 3 I told him, look, I get that you want to make this good, but we shouldn't spend a full week of dev time, which is like 8% of the entire game, on figuring out how to open a door. And solo devs, they don't have that person who just shakes them and like, I don't fucking care how beautiful you think it is. That was my one swear word, I guess. Just make something and focus on progressing the game. Don't get stuck on these minute, smaller details at the end of the day.
That I think is the biggest hurdle for solo game devs, at least.
Understanding for yourself what is worth it, what should your priorities be. Yeah, like similar as well with like the assets. Should your priority be making your own custom localization system? No, probably not.
If you want to do this for realsies, not just, haha, I'm making a game, haha, but actual for realsies, you should probably have capital that you can invest as well, because it will just speed everything up. Like the feel asset, it adds so much feel to your game, haha, funny. It's a Unity asset that just does like a lot of things like screen shake, all of the things are handled. It costs like $20 maybe, but it saves you so much time if you had to make that yourself. You can't make it as good either.
And I think that brings me to like my final idea, for me at least, for if I were to go solo. And it's like, there's also, once again, this YouTube channel entirely, at the end of the day, you don't watch this just for purely hobbyist advice. There's advice in here for hobbyists, but we're looking at the idea of making this sustainable, making money. I would, if Suck Me starts, I would drop the idea.
That's a weird sentence, you know, if Suck Me starts.
Of like making the games I want to make. I'm first gonna make some games that you guys consider slop, but Steam doesn't. I would make, I don't know, shop simulator, something like body pillow store simulator. I think that already exists at that point. And look at something first that I know is a pretty guaranteed win, or at least has everything stacked in my favor in terms of marketability, virality, gameplay-wise, doesn't take like 5 years to develop. Just to build up some capital, like I said.
The perfect market game, so to say, not the game you want to make.
Making a game that maybe isn't your 100% game, but it's a game that you know people are gonna buy. Or I'll do like an early access open world survival craft and then just abandon it and rename my studio, because that's something other people do as well. And then use that money to go maybe either not solo anymore, or at least like whether you get like someone dedicated on team or you get more contractors, freelancers, assets, whatever. Solo development is always an uphill battle. You should always have the end goal of not being solo anymore, I think, is the main thing. I know some people develop better solo, but I think you're just overloading yourself too much as well.
Or you're the exception to the rule. Like, for example, maybe an Eric Barone.
But he still took 7 years.
Yeah, okay, true. If you want to release quickly, he made a big risk. Yeah, it's a horrible example.
It's a massive risk at the end of the day. There are so many.
I'm the typical commenter now who's like, but Eric Barone did it. I was like, and I always say, no, he's the exception. And now I'm here like, but Eric...
Also, some other things. Eric Barone was bankrolled by his girlfriend. True. That's something that if you get that chance, then maybe you can do it. But I don't think a lot of people here, A, have a girlfriend because you're game devs, and B, have a girlfriend that wants to fund your silly little game business for 7 years in a row. I think those are some things to keep in mind there as well. Are you gonna miss me? That's the wrong answer. It's like, would you love me if I was
a worm?
A worm? You shouldn't think about it. You should immediately say, yes, I would still love you.
The reason I'm thinking about it is, if you leave, I might just sell Bite Me.
Who's gonna buy Bite Me?
Probably one viewer is like, I would buy Bite Me. It's like, here's $50. I'm like, oh sure, here's the Bite Me brand, here's the
YouTube channel, here's the password. Yeah. That's the wrong answer. You would just sell all of this hard work, 3 years down the drain?
No, I wouldn't sell it. I would keep it. I would beg you to come back. I would miss you so much.
Yeah, you're just pretending now. It's okay. This is where we actually start the fight, and I do end up starting Suck Me games.
So this is like, we made the joke, haha, funny, in the ending of the video. It's like, we put the camera off, we actually start making a...
It's like, how could you have said that?
Yeah, and then next week, when you see this, it's like the actual breakup video.
Yeah, no. I think, look, at the end of the day, solo game dev is like, feel good. Some of these videos that we've made as well, like, yeah, you can do it, get that accountability buddy, and those things help, like, for example, with that discipline, whatever, but if you have a good one, but it's really hard, for example, to get a good accountability buddy, to get a good partner for your game, that...
A lot of people are like, flies.
Yeah, and like, revenue share, it barely works, it basically doesn't work. It only works, even if you have that capital to hire a contractor, even then, it often doesn't end up working, and I think that is something that we're very lucky in at the end of the day, us, and why we aren't going to be breaking up, because we have like longer trust. I know that you're probably not going to disappear overnight from the face of the earth and all of that.
You sure?
I'm pretty confident, and otherwise I still have your mom. So
that's a weird sentence.
It's fine.
I think you mean you know where I live.
No.
Okay.
I'll ask your mom to join Suck Me Games.
That's a weird sentence. Mom, if you're watching this, you don't understand English anyway, so it's fine.
I think really like, at the end of the day, I think we over romanticize solo game development. And I think it's something that
It's a tough world out
tough
there.
one.
Take this.
It's good if you're doing this part-time. When you are someone who can't do like the hardcore commit on a project, it's like, yeah, it's easier. But I think at that point, you just need to accept that I'm going to be doing the solo for a while. Because two people who are both in it kind of part-time, like life gets in the way, they're suddenly like, oh, I gotta know kids, you're not gonna see me for 9 months, whatever. That is even more destructive than just chugging along slower, I think. But then learning to build the discipline yourself to releasing games, I would say. So yeah, I think if you're doing it as a hobby, solo development, keep doing it. Yep. If you're planning on becoming a solo developer, but actually also make game development your main income, I think you need to look beyond being a solo developer. Because it's like, yeah, you get 100% of the pie of the game you make right now, but you're making like a tiny little pie. Whereas we're more people, so that means that, well, if we were to technically split the pie, it's like everyone gets 1/3, so to say. But the pie is so much bigger usually, because you can just make more games, make more everything, make bigger games, more quality games that you can't do when you're a solo developer. Try to find someone, I don't know. It's hard. Just make money, just make game. I don't know. There's no real great answer, unfortunately.
In the end, everyone is screwed.
No, I don't think that. I don't think everyone is screwed, but I think it's just know that there's a lot of problems along the way as well, and keep those things in mind.
You should think of solo dev as a Farian game. Where it's
keep falling?
Yeah, you keep falling, but in the end you might reach the top.
Yeah,
a lot of people quit along the way.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people refund Unicycle Pizza Time, but some of them, they just keep going, and after 3-4 hours, they finish it, they speedrun the game.
It's a skill issue. If you quit, I can't swear.
You used your
But
one.
you should not quit.
Yeah.
Keep going, be disciplined, positivity.
It's also only gonna get better the more games you release, generally. You're not going to get worse as a game developer. So that is one thing. Right now is the worst it's probably gonna be if you're a solo developer. And that may sound depressing,
but you live and you learn.
There's some hopium in that as well. So I hope this was interesting. We upload 2 videos here every week talking about things we've learned along the way, the fallouts we have.
Oh yeah, happy April Fools.
If you hadn't noticed yet, this video was uploaded on April 1st, 2025. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one, I think.
Bye.